For women killed by men. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are joined by Angela Beatty, who is the Senior Director of Domestic Violence Services with the YWCA. First of all, we've been teasing this all morning long. Let's talk about the law that starts November 1st involving cell phones. Tell me about that.
Well, thankfully, we were able to work with AT&T to work on drafting this law that will allow victims of domestic violence to be able to break their cell phone plan that they currently shared with their abuser. So they'd be able to break that plan and get their own plan.
Does this only work with AT&T?
It would work with all cell phone carriers.
Tell me about that problem. We had a comment on Facebook actually where somebody said, well, I did this and I didn't have a problem, but clearly it has been an issue for some.
Absolutely. Oftentimes with cell phone carriers, we get into contracts with them, and so it can be difficult to break that contract. And so this allows someone the ability to do that without much of a hassle.
And how do you work through that red tape? So it becomes legislation, but then how does it trickle down into the stores and the person that I'm talking to on the phone trying to get out of my plan?
It's one of those things that the cell phone companies will have to be aware of, and then once that happens, then they'll be able to move forward in that process.
What have you seen in your services where you could see that this would help and help someone break free from an abuser?
Absolutely. I mean, so victims of domestic violence often have to go through lots of red tape, lots of motions to end the relationship. You think about when you're in a relationship with someone, your bills are together, you consolidate bank accounts, you consolidate all of those things. And so ending that relationship can be really difficult because you have to go back into all of these companies and all of these carriers and say, we need to separate these things now. And due to contracts and issues like that, that can sometimes be a really big challenge for our clients. So this will alleviate one of those challenges that our clients have to face.
What are we doing well or not doing well here in Oklahoma as it relates to domestic violence?
I think still in Oklahoma, we struggle with having the conversation. Oklahoma actually ranks first in the nation for lifetime prevalence of violence against women. So if you add up domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, we actually rank first in the nation for that. And so I think we still shy away from having the conversation. It's something we need to be talking about. Oftentimes, domestic violence starts with teenagers. So we need to be having these conversations with our school-age children about what healthy relationships look like and about boundaries. We need to be having these conversations in our church youth groups about what do healthy relationships look like, because oftentimes people don't hear about it, and so they think that violence is normal or that control is normal, and it's not at all.
What are we doing? So many times we focus on our young women and we talk about different things to look out for in a relationship and so on and so forth. But where is the conversation with our young women and our young men?
Yeah, I think that's super important piece that we often miss. I think domestic violence will only rise to a level that a community is willing to accept. And so it takes everyone saying to our brothers, to our sons, to our uncles, and even to our fathers, this is not okay. This is not how you treat women. How would you feel if someone treated me that way? And so I think we often place the blame on the victim instead of asking of the perpetrator, why does he engage in that behavior?
What kinds of things are you seeing for those that aren't seeing it in their own lives, or like maybe for parents it's hidden, a teen relationship, they don't know anything about it? What do you see on a daily basis to give people an idea about what is happening in our community?
Yeah, I think one of the things that often happens in domestic violence pretty early on is isolation. So say a family member enters into a new relationship. If you start to see less of them and they stop calling or stop coming by or come up with excuses about why they can't hang out for family dinner or why they're unable to come by for holidays. Those are kinds of things that I think I would be interested in probing for a little bit more. Abusers often try to keep their victims away from social support systems because it allows you to have the ability to resist them if you have those support systems in your life. And so isolation is kind of one of those first telltale signs of abuse.
What would be a good move for a friend or a family member to start that conversation with someone? That seems so important because sometimes if you just start off on the wrong foot, the person just shuts you down. How would you start a conversation with someone that you're concerned about?
Absolutely. You don't want to be accusatory. It's important to be supportive and to say, I love you, I care about you, I'm worried about you. You deserve to be treated better than this. No one deserves abuse. It doesn't matter what you said or what you've done. It's not your fault. It's important also to note that victims have to be ready to receive help. And so we don't want to pressure someone into a situation where they feel like they have to reach out. But we want to say, I'm here for you whenever you're ready.
And you make such a good point there. When someone is isolated, it makes it that much harder to get out because they think, well, this is my person. I've just made my whole world around them for the last, X number of years, and how would I ever leave this person?
Absolutely.
You make a great point.
Yeah, so we just want to be there when they're ready to leave.
Angela, we want to continue this conversation. We're going to toss to Shelby, and then we're going to come back after the break, answer some questions that we got from folks on Facebook. Shelby, over to you.